is Histories and Mysteries Uncovered. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jessica. And on this week's episode, Ashley will be talking about some mysterious phone calls.
Yeah.
Okay. And I will be talking about the unsolved lumber baron in murders.
Oh, so we accidentally have a theme this week.
Oh, no.
Unsolved.
Oh.
Sorry, dear listeners.
Honestly, mine doesn't even have like much of an investigation, so
Samesies.
Okay. Wonderful. Let's crack into it.
All right. So I used Mashable Mobile Gazette, this podcast, which, what a cool name. It's called the Ouija Broads Podcast.
Adorable.
I love that.
It's adorable.
And ABC News.
Okay.
It was 2007, the year with the infamous Britney Spears head shaving controversy.
Okay.
What?
Well, I was just wondering how we felt about her right now.
I have not followed too in depth with it, but I am worried for her from what I've seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
She does seem like she's having a mental episode of some sort.
Just the dancing videos alone.
Yeah. But have you seen those people that think there's like a deep fake and like it's not really her?
And that she died like long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. People also think that about Biden. They think he's dead and it's an actor replacing him. I was like, if it was an actor replacing him, you think he could be a little bit more upbeat.
Uppity. Yeah.
Anywho, The Sopranos came to a close. Mad Men premiered. Icon Has Cheeseburger was all the rage online. Jessica, do you know about Icon Has Cheeseburger?
No.
You've never heard of Icon Has Cheeseburger?
No.
Okay, so it's a bunch of like, I don't even memes almost, but it started out with a cat and looking very, very intently at a cheeseburger. And he says, Icon Has Cheeseburger? And it kind of grew from there. There's a whole website called Icon Has Cheeseburger.
Oh my God.
So that was all the rage. Bob Barker ended his reign on The Price is Right.
Oh, don't say that.
And the last Harry Potter book was published.
You realize that Bob Barker just died?
I did. Very sad. Rest in peace, Bob Barker. He was every 90 kids stay-at-home sick babysitter.
He was great.
He was great.
Yeah.
This was also the year that the iPhone came out for the first time.
2007, right?
Yep.
I was
what grade were you in?
I was going into high school.
I was in my second to last year of college.
Yeah, I was 14. I was just going into grade 9.
All right. I was second to last year of college. So the iPhone did come out in 2007, but obviously it was new, so it wasn't widely used yet. So it was still Nokia with its 435 million units. And this, so I messed up that sentence because I wrote, this was also the year the iPhone came out, but Nokia with its 435 million units still remained king of cell phones. And I really liked that line. So that's why I went back and just read it. Anyway. I'm not sure what kind of cell phone 16-year-old Courtney Kuykendall had, but one can assume that it was either a Nokia or a Motorola. Probably
I was going to say a Motorola Razr, pink one.
My mom had that one.
I had that one, and I had a Nokia.
Okay. I had a BlackBerry.
Oh.
I know.
Ew.
But my first one was a Motorola. I think it was a Motorola. But probably a flip phone, and definitely the texting where you had to hit the number 9 3 times to get the letter Y.
Oh my God. It was
you
awful.
had to really want it.
You had to pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah. You had to really want it. And sometime in February of 2007, Courtney received some weird text from her friend. They were asking her, hey, why are you texting us this? She's like, I haven't texted you anything.
Weird.
One friend said that she got a text from Courtney that just said, gay. That was it.
Yay?
Gay.
Oh.
Yeah. That was it. Courtney's like, I didn't text you that. That's weird. And Courtney was flabbergasted. She had never sent those texts. And not too long after this incident, Courtney, her friends, and her family started receiving threatening texts and phone calls from who they eventually referred to as restricted. So they didn't know who it was, but the number always came up as restricted. So they just called this entity restricted.
Weird.
The phone calls were this raspy voice on the other line. And both the texts and calls would say things like, I'm going to slit your throats. I'm going to rape you.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to attack your school. I'm going to kill your pets. Yeah.
That's horrifying. Could you even imagine?
No. One voicemail that was left said, I know where you are. I know where you live. I'm going to kill you.
That's horrifying. I couldn't even imagine.
And these messages and phone calls came all of the time, at night, during the day. It didn't matter. And it came to their cell phones and their landline. Because again, remember, this is 2007. So landlines were still very much a thing.
They were great.
Yeah. Didn't have to pay for them, right? Didn't have to worry about calling after 9 p.m. for the free minutes. But it didn't matter if they switched phones, switched phone lines, turned their phones off. Nothing stopped the calls and messages. At this point,
question.
Yeah.
If they turn their phones off, how did they get bothered?
So even when they turned their phones off, people were still getting messages.
Yeah, but they could still turn their phones off.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they had their phones off 24/7, sure.
Change your phone number.
They did.
Oh.
Yeah. At this point, the family realized that they needed some help, so they went to the local police station. They told the police what was going on, and Heather, who is Courtney's mother, told them that sometimes the raspy voice would say really juvenile things, and sometimes it was really scary. Shockingly, when Courtney and one of her friends were speaking to a police officer, both of their phones were off, and both phones turned on and began calling each other without any human intervention. When the family came home from the police, they received a voicemail that was a recording of the conversation they had just had.
With the police?
Yeah. Police began to look into the phone calls and messages, and when doing so, all of the messages traced back to Courtney's phone.
Knew it.
Some of them even sending when they could prove that her phone was off.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's horrifying. That is like my worst fear.
I know. They started to receive more messages of recordings of different conversations they were having, almost as though Restricted was using their own phones to record them. Restricted even seemed to be able to see them. The family was obviously scared, so they got a new security system installed, and right after they programmed the new keypad, they received a message from Restricted saying that they knew the passcode. So he or she could see that they had installed a new security system and that they knew the passcode.
What?
Yeah.
My heart is beating like so fast. This is horrible.
Yeah. Sometimes Restricted would comment on their clothing. And one time when Andrea McKay, there's three families that this was happening to. Courtney's family, Courtney's older sister, who was married and like out on her own, and then I believe a neighbor of theirs. So it's these three families that was happening to. So one of the families, Andrea McKay, she was the friend or the sister. I can't remember which one. Doesn't matter. But she was cutting up limes and she received a message that said, "I prefer lemons."
Ew, 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 ew. How?
One day they even heard someone bang on the outside of their house. And when they went to look, no one was there. A lot of people thought that maybe Courtney had something to do with this, since most, but not all, but most of the messages did originate from her phone. But like we said, they sometimes even sent when her phone was off. She denies that she had anything to do with it, and so does her mom, saying, "We know it's not her, and we can't think of anybody we've made mad or that we've made enemies of." The police said, "At this point, we aren't saying it's someone inside the family, but it's someone that's close enough to know this much about them." They said, "It seems like it's someone who is tied into the group, a family member, a friend, an enemy of some sort." At this point, there are rumors that the FBI started to get involved. And so all the calls and messages stopped.
Oh.
And that's it. To this day, no one knows who it was. There's some theories that I'm going to go into, but
okay.
So I saw one theory that maybe Courtney had sent threatening messages to someone and then she got scared and was like, "Oh, it's not me, it's my phone." And then it kind of just spiraled into this thing. But I feel like that's a long con, because if that was the case, she could have done it like one or two more times, but to do the extent that she did just to cover up that first one, that seems a bit much to me.
Yeah, and I mean, she's what, 16?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's not going to have that long of an attention span.
Yeah, and I can't see her having like the forethought of, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to trick everybody." You know, like, why?
Well, and it wasn't even just her family either. So
yeah. I also read that maybe she did it to get on TV, but again, I don't really think that. I think that's weird. Apparently, though, this was interesting that I found. The phone calls of the recorded conversation and the phones turning on in front of the police and calling each other were all said by the family. Like, no police officer ever came forward to corroborate that story. But again, why would they? Like, there was no need for them to come forward and be like, "Yeah, that happened." You know, just, I don't know. I don't think that's that big of a deal, but I can see where it can poke some holes in some theories. One of the other theory, which I think is a bit more kind of what I think is going on, is that there is a virus or a hack that somehow got on Courtney's phone, and that's how someone was controlling her phone.
that's what I was thinking, because
Yeah.
LimeWire, that
Yeah.
shit was dangerous.
Yeah, and everybody did it.
And Omegle,
Yeah.
chat roulette,
Yeah.
that
was
kind
all
of
bad.
shit, right?
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
amount of stuff that you could have said to somebody without really knowing, because they always asked sex, language, location.
Yeah. And if
a
you're
lot of
talking to
that stuff
someone,
is, security questions. You can ask them any question.
yeah, exactly. So they thought that maybe someone was helping by smuggling the family's phones in and out to put the software on to mess with them. But again, that seems unlikely. The other thought is that maybe Courtney was infecting her phone unknowingly, like we just talked about. A lot of articles mentioned that maybe she was reinfecting her phone by visiting her MySpace page, but I don't remember that being super virusy. So I don't know. Why. I saw that in like multiple sources and I was like, "Oh, it's okay." But each time, so like then each time she got a new phone, if she went to that page or whatever it was she was doing, like you said, LimeWire or whatever, it would reinfect her phone.
Did you have a MySpace?
I did.
Did you? What was it called?
MySpace. Like, what was my username?
Yeah.
Oh, all forever 15. That's been my
Oh,
username since since I had
okay.
AOL. I still use it.
That's really funny.
It's my initials forever. My favorite number, 15.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So then the question is, was the technology there in 2007 to do something like this? And the answer is maybe. So some sources said yes, but it was military grade technology. And I should put it in here that her brother in law did work at the McCord Air Force Base, which was right by where they lived. And Restricted did at one point message saying, McCord needs us. And that was it. But then there was also
Oh.
another security expert that said it's pretty easy to spoof a phone, which is when you allow a person to mask or alter the number they're calling from. And more sophisticated hackers can also clone a cell phone. So, but
Well, why
again,
would you hack a 16-year-old girl's phone?
yeah, it says cloning a phone would not allow someone to listen in on a phone call, which requires more sophisticated technology. So that's kind of there. The one thing I thought was where they said another thing that could have happened is inexperienced hackers use something called script kiddies, like KIDDIES. And this is where they can use programs developed by more tech savvy hackers to break into computers and cell phones. And usually people between the ages of 15 and 25 do this as a way of asserting themselves, much, they said, quote, much in the same way a bully beats up others. So another theory that kind of lends into that is that it was some teenager from the neighborhood or from her school that didn't like her or had beef with her or something like that, and was using this as a way to kind of assert himself as a hacker while also picking on this girl he didn't like. And even if he was something that was in the neighborhood or the school, he could easily peek into the house to see what they were wearing to freak him out, stuff
Well,
like
and
that.
you guys have weird houses. Your windows literally face each other. I'd
Sometimes,
be
yeah.
sitting in your living room and it was directly across and I could see into your neighbor's house and I even like waved at them at one point. Like,
Weirdo. Nobody does that.
they were right there.
Yeah. So I tend to think that that's what happened. That it was some teenage kid, didn't like Courtney, and was trying to be a little bit of a hacker, thought it was kind of cool, and just wanted to play this prank. That's kind of where I land.
Yeah. I would say it was a girl, not a guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Female rivalries are
Intense.
intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know it wasn't super long, but I was reading about that and I was like, I have to tell the story. This is so creepy.
That's so creepy. So last week, or maybe it was on our Patreon, I wanted to tell you a story.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, I think my house is haunted
Why?
because I came into my office one day. My office is my closet, my husband's closet.
Nice, nice.
And I came in and I was looking everywhere for my mouse, like my wireless mouse. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I guess like Evie must have taken it somewhere because she loves to come in here
Mm-hmm.
and play with my stuff. And I'm looking around, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm gonna have to use my freaking mouse pad on my laptop like a barbarian. And then literally a minute later, it showed up right in front of me. It was just there.
That happened to me the other day, now that you say that.
Ew.
I could not find Oliver's shoe for the life of me. I looked for like a half hour trying to find this damn thing. And then all of a sudden, I walked by and it was sitting right in the middle of the living room. Like I would have had to have walked past it. And I was like, it was not there. Although I do think I moved a towel because I think somebody spilled something. So I grabbed a towel and to wipe up whatever it was. So I'm wondering if maybe it was wrapped up in the towel and I didn't notice when it dropped. That's what I'm going with, but it's still creepy.
Yeah, so I wanted to tell you about that. And
Yeah.
then Kyle left me for a weekend, like a couple days with the kids and stuff. And the night before he left, I had a dream so vivid that he was divorcing me.
Oh no.
It was so sad when I woke up, and then I'm like, oh, he's just leaving.
He's just leaving me.
Leaving. Scared the crap out of my daycare lady when I said that to her. I was like, yeah, Kyle's leaving me and he's taking Evie.
She's like, oh my God, are you
She
okay?
had like a friggin' heart attack. She was like, oh, and I'm like, no, just for a weekend.
Yeah, way to word that very poorly.
As soon as it had come out, I was like, oh shit.
That's not how I wanted that.
No. So, well, that's some creepy stuff. And I have a creepy story. It is uber short, but it has true crime and ghosties in it.
Ooh, I know I wanted to do this one because I'm feeling very Halloween fall, and this was kind of a creepy one. So I'm really glad you did another creepy one.
Yeah. I know it's getting so cold here. I love it.
Oh, it's supposed to be 90 something again next week. I'm so annoyed.
What is that?
Oh, 90,
It's been like 20 something.
32.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's gross.
And like higher than this in like the mid 90s. So like probably 35-ish.
Oh, that's horrible.
Isn't that awful? What are we doing here?
I know. It's a joke.
Oh, speaking of last tangent, and then we'll get into your story. I took a test on what country I should move to. And you know what my number one country came up as?
Yeah.
Did I tell you this already?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking Canada.
After I just sent her a bunch of TikTok videos about how our country is a dumpster fire.
Yeah, I don't want to move there. There's other ones like Norway. I'll go to Norway. That sounds great.
Norway? Oh, yeah. Go to Norway. Let's go to Iceland.
I would love to move to Iceland. I would totally move to Iceland in a heartbeat.
Let's do it. Let's like get a compound together.
Yes.
Okay. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. If you join our Patreon for $3, you can also live in our compound.
You can help fund our compound. Like a cult.
Speaking of which, our third bonus episode dropped today. If you want to hear it, we did I covered The Rake, which is a spooky cryptid, and Jessica told us a good old Chardick story.
Chardick.
Charles Dickinson. So if you want to hear that along with
Is that just Charles Dickens?
Yeah, what'd I say?
Dickinson.
Oh my God, I do that every time. Charles Dickens. If you want to hear that along with 2 other full-length bonus episodes, join our Patreon at the $3 level, the only level, the $3 level.
And you'll get to hear me in my million accents.
Oh my God, it was horrible.
I thought it was great, especially when I thought the wrong person was the bad person.
So she gave him a stupid voice.
Anyway,
so head on over there if you want more of us. So, okay, your creepy story. I'm excited. Let's do this.
Okay. I used Legends of America, haunted rooms, and all it's interesting. And unfortunately, there just wasn't a lot on the incident itself, unfortunately. It was just that unsolved, I guess.
Gotcha.
But I have like the history and the ghosties, so.
Yes.
This is the Unsolved Lumber Baron Inn murders.
Scottish. I'm sorry, it's Lumber Baron Inn, like a hotel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Scottish immigrant John Muat constructed a residence for his family in Denver, Colorado around 1890. He established a reputation for himself in the lumber business, accumulated a sizable fortune,
Oh,
and eventually established Muat Lumber. In Denver, more than 200 buildings were built by Muat Lumber Firm between 1889 and 1892.
oh my gosh, that's a ton, especially back then.
In that space,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
yeah,
crazy.
just a couple years. It's wild.
Yeah.
And this contributed to the city's development from a small mining camp to what it is today. And isn't Denver like the capital?
He's gonna kill me. I think so. I mean, Denver is the biggest city, I'm pretty sure. It's a really cool city. I really enjoyed going there. I got so sick, but I really
Well,
enjoyed it.
really?
Because the altitude's so high. I got altitude sickness.
It's up in the mountains.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it is Denver. Okay.
However, he aspired for his house to be the best. Okay.
Ooh.
Not only was it a huge 8,500 square foot mansion, but each room featured a unique type of wood. Each fireplace was intricately carved. The dining room had carved rosettes that represented the trees used to make the guest rooms. And the guest rooms themselves had private baths and private phones.
Wow. That was a big deal back then.
Yeah. However, the five Muatch kids grew old, left home, and had their own families. So later, Muat and his wife left as well by 1906, when the mansion subsequently lost its family's ownership and changed hands multiple times before reducing to the status of a dilapidated tenement building, as
Oh,
is common with old structures.
oh, that's sad.
I know. It was a shell of what it once was by the middle of the 20th century, and it was the kind of area where drug users, runaways, and low-level criminals gathered.
Oh,
In a nutshell, it served as a location for individuals to go when they had nowhere else to turn.
well, that's kind of nice.
Yeah. Sadly, tragedies frequently occur in these kinds of places, and the Lumber Baron Inn was no exception. Kara Lee Knock, a 16-year-old runaway, was residing in a rented room at the Lumber Baron Inn in 1970.
Oh, so it was like still a working inn.
No, it never was.
But
So
I mean, it was still,
it was originally the family's home,
yeah.
right? And then it turned into tenant buildings.
Uh-huh.
And then it changed ownerships. It changed ownership and it became the Lumber Baron Inn.
Okay. For some reason, I was picturing like an abandoned building where people were going.
No, no, no. It was
Gotcha,
made
gotcha, gotcha.
into a certain building. Knock had abandoned her studies and left her home, but on October 11th, she appeared to have changed her mind. She celebrated her 17th birthday at her parents' house and made the big announcement. She would leave her apartment and resume high school in 4 days. 4 days. Okay.
Okay.
She had also found a job. So she really wanted to get her life back on track.
Okay. And what did you say her age was? I'm sorry.
17.
17.
She
Okay.
just celebrated her 17th birthday.
Okay.
Unfortunately, 2 days later, she was found deceased
Oh.
in her apartment. Marianne Weaver, who was 18 years old, visited Knock that day at the Lumber Baron Inn, and she arrived at the worst possible moment. In the apartment was a man.
Nope.
Numerous versions state that Weaver arrived just in time to see him murder Knock after he had already raped her. The man then shot and murdered Weaver when he was caught.
Oh.
really sad.
That is sad.
Knock was strangled to death, and her body was discovered under the bed on October 13th, 1970.
Oh my God.
And Weaver was found deceased on the floor beside the bed. More than 50 years later, their killer has still never been found.
Oh.
The tenement building was demolished by the city of Denver in less than 20 years after it had descended into nearly utter and total decay. If Walter and Julie Keller hadn't bought the property in 1991 and started the protracted process of restoring and remodeling the mansion, converting it into the Lumber Baron Inn, that would probably have been the end of the story. But clearly, that's not the end of my story. It still operates as a bed and breakfast.
I'm looking at it right now.
And no other tragedies have befallen it, thankfully. However, given its history, several visitors and paranormal investigators have asserted that the Lumber Baron Inn may indeed be haunted. The neighborhood was beginning to improve. The Lumber Baron Inn was entirely repaired, and the Kellers made the decision to relocate after converting the basement of the mansion into a single larger apartment. So basically, they moved into the basement of the Lumber Baron Inn. Additionally, their efforts extended beyond the interior. They replanted the gardens around the structure and added furnishings that reflected its original Queen Anne design from the 1890s.
It is very nice.
It's beautiful. The bed and breakfast, wedding location, and event area known as Lumber Baron Inn and Gardens soon became operational. However, according to rumors, it is the most haunted location in Denver, and 6 ghosts are said to still prowl its corridors.
Oh.
The ghosts of Kara Knock and Marion Weaver, who have allegedly been spotted in the inn's Valentine chamber, on the stairs and in the hallway beside their chamber, are, of course, 2 of the reported ghosts who haunt the inn.
I was just looking at the Valentine suite.
Yeah.
It's
Visitors
very pink.
Really?
Yeah, it's real pink.
Visitors have described feeling cold areas and hearing odd noises coming from unidentified places around them. Even Walter Keller shared similar tales, claiming that as he worked on the inn's renovations, an unseasonably chilly gust of wind caused the hairs on the back of his neck to stand on end.
Oh.
But in addition to the ghosts of Knock and Weaver, visitors and paranormal researchers have also described seeing a female apparition, occasionally dressed as a flapper, the ghost of a maid, a male spirit thought to be a member of the Muat or Fowler family, and an older, commanding male apparition who frequently appears in public spaces smoking a pipe.
Oh.
And sometimes you can still smell the smoke on his pipe.
Oh.
The Spirit Paranormal team and the Ghost Detectives team are just 2 of the paranormal investigation groups that have been by the Lumber Baron Inn. I don't like this part. I think this part's stupid.
Okay.
Spirit Paranormal asserted to have learned the entire name of the murderer who killed Knock and Weaver during the course of 2 different investigations, one in 2011 and the second in 2012, albeit they haven't made that information public.
Oh. So like, oh yeah, we heard it, but we're not going to tell you.
Yeah, and we're not going to tell you what it is, but apparently it was confirmed in both investigations they did.
Mm-hmm,
But like, what's the point of that?
Yeah.
Disclose your information.
That's stupid.
Yeah. They wrote, another unbelievable night at the Lumber Baron Inn last night, folks. If I was not there to see this in person, I would not have believed it. For the second straight year, we received the same name of the killer from the unsolved 1970 double murder on the ITC spirit box device. But if you're gonna like if you have a name, you
Yeah.
have a chance to like,
Why wouldn't you? What's the point of not? I don't get it.
right?
Yeah.
Makes no sense. But the unsolved murders of Karen Knock and Marion Weaver, which hang over the otherwise charming bed and breakfast in Denver, Colorado, are the only known horror that is certain to haunt the Lumber Baron Inn. Of course, it is unlikely that this alleged evidence would be admissible in a court of law. Nevertheless, numerous investigations there attest to it.
Do you know?
Uh,
I'm sorry, are you done?
yeah.
Okay. Do you know that they
Mm.
offer a magical high tea
Oh,
where you
cute.
can get uh Lenormand card reading, a traditional Victorian card reading, including a full 36 card grand tableau spread. You can get custom spell candles and crystal prescriptions.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Where is this place?
It's at the
Or
Lumber
like,
Baron Inn.
no, I know, but like, where is it in relation to me?
Oh, very, very far away.
Oh, that's
It's on the
stupid.
western side of the country,
Oh, I've never been west.
but pretty north. Well,
Hmm,
no, it's kind of smack dab in the middle of the country.
stupid.
Yeah, but they have a magical tea and you can get married there and the wedding venue is gorgeous. It's kind of expensive, but
Yeah.
very pretty.
Anyways,
Well, good
yeah.
story. That was so cool. I loved that.
Thanks. I know it was kind of like sucky.
No.
Also, I have to say, I tried finding pronunciations of this girl's name. So, Knock, it's spelled Knoche.
Yeah, that's how I would say it.
Okay, so I just wanted to put that out there.
I'm not gonna lie. When you first said Scottish, I was like, oh God, she's gonna do an accent. And then you didn't.
I wanted to, and I almost did.
Have you ever
Not
watched
going to lie.
have you ever watched Outlander?
Of course I have, you
Oh yeah, that's
stinky
Scottish
butt.
one.
Oh yeah, it's good. Are you
I
caught up on
stopped
it?
watching. No, I got really, really into it. And then I kind of stopped watching it when she went home and then came back and she was
Oh,
older.
it gets so good.
Does it? I need to start
It's so
watching it
good.
again.
It's so good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'll give it another
Okay, give it a shot.
shot.
Also
I
watch
say,
Shadow and Bone. It's really good.
oh my God, I love Shadow and Bone. I know he's a bad guy, but
Especially with the scars.
oh,
Every time I would make a character, on Fallout, or when I was writing a book when I was younger, my main character, my main girl, always had like a giant scar across her eye.
oh, really?
Yeah.
I also really like what's his fuck? Kaz.
I also like Zarovich.
Which one is that?
Nikolai. Is it
Oh,
Nikolai? He's hot.
Nikolai Lantsov, the
Yeah.
king or prince or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, the main guy is what's his name?
Mal.
He's pretty hot too. They're all
Okay.
fine.
It's not my type.
Oh, I think he's gorgeous.
No.
I like Kaz because he's all like wounded
And broody.
and like emo. Anyway, if you
Cool.
haven't seen Shadow and Bone, go check it out because there's a lot of hot men, and if you're into women, there's a lot of hot women.
Oh yeah. It's
Yeah,
great though. Go watch it.
yeah.
Honestly, I think Alina's hot.
Yeah, she's
Just gonna
gorgeous,
say
and
it.
Inej, she's
Inej,
beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah, she's beautiful too. All right. Anyway, I had a dad joke, and I was like, I'm not gonna forget this one because I'm gonna tell her, and then I forgot it.
Oh,
Do you
that's
have any?
stupid. No, I was hoping you had some. I'm tired of looking.
Do you want me to tell my vampire one that I posted on Instagram twice? Here's one. Them, please don't take this personally. Me, best I can do is immediately take it extra personally.
Yeah. 100%.
I also posted this on Instagram. If you don't follow us, go follow us because we're pretty funny. But I
Because Ashley
posted.
posts multiple repeats.
I have the memory of a goldfish. Okay.
Oh my God.
This one says people will swim in the ocean, even though there are definitely many corpses in it. People will not swim in a pool with a corpse in it. Humans all have a corpse to water ratio that is acceptable for them to swim in.
Yeah, but it's the whole if I don't see it, it's not there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, no thanks.
I can't remember my dad joke. So if you don't have any, we can move on. Okay. Well, if you want more of us lovely ladies, you can find us on Patreon, TikTok. I don't know why I'm saying that, but TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I'm like slap happy. My baby's sick and she was up most of the night last night and the night before, so I'm like slap happy at this point.
And if you want to rate and review us, please do so nicely on Spotify and Apple.
Thanks for tuning in and we look forward to bringing you 2 new stories next week.
Bye.